I'm talking about he's a pioneer to what I think is the greatest childhood franchise of all time and still isn't touched to this day by certain other titles. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Sonic the Hedgehog. And I just want to let you...
What's up guys, the Antio here, and today we have a video called Childhood Games That Went Crazy. I'm not gonna lie, my favorite game of all time, Super Mario Galaxy. I can't help it. I was in the Wii growing up, I had a lot of fun on a lot of stuff. There was just so many games I had to play. The Lego games, Sonic Colors, Mario Galaxy, just so much. I can't even get into it. It's just a lot. We had too much. Also in the comments, let me know what your favorite childhood game was, or your favorite childhood games are. Oh, and I did not forget Super Smash. Super Smash for the Wii. Oh my gosh, that's what started it all. That's what made me love the entire series. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Oh, that's the Wii Sports music. Oh no. Okay, that's dark. Before we get into the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that little notification bell because I have a long journey ahead and I ain't stopping anytime soon. Now let's get back into the video.
As someone who was blessed enough to have a Wii growing up, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This might be up there as one of the greatest consoles of all time.
Yeah.
This shit was so versatile that anyone could play it, bro. You had games where you had to move your body so you could lose weight. There were games that would challenge your brain and make you think hard, which ultimately made you a smart person in the future. And then there were just games where you're just doing a bunch of shit to pass the time. There was a category for everyone, fam. Games were such a vital part of growing up. Whether that be your first console was a DS, PlayStation, Xbox, your mom's phone, or
the hell was that?
Pad, they were all fire, fam. We can all agree that games were something we all enjoyed and found mad fun. Like when I was in school, people would really be out here lying to their parents that they're sick just so they could play the new Fortnite season. It was crazy, man. They were mad addicted to that shit. And in this video, I'll be talking about the best childhood games I had growing up. Because with the recent release of the Switch 2 and the fact that PS5 has been out for a couple of years now, I'll be so real with you lot. Games just aren't as hard as they used to go back in the day. Nowadays, I just don't be gaming as much as I used to be. I mean, the world of battle royales and battle passes have...
I think it's more the fact that we have like responsibilities now because we're adults. But you know, I try to find ways to get gaming in here and there. Also, speaking of gaming, check out the gaming channel. The new FNAF game is up there. I'm posting it one like every other day before I beat the game because that game is fun as hell.
I've low-key cooked the gaming industry, and the fact that most titles got a starting price point of £70 is cooked, fam. I'ma be honest, but nonetheless, a lot of games got my heart for real. And without further yapping, let's get straight into it. And we start with what I think is one of the most greatest titles of all time, Rayman Origins. Throughout my whole childhood, from Rayman 2 all the way to Rayman Legends, these games have resonated differently to me. The Rayman series has to be one of the most underrated series of all time. This shit was so peak, man. I remember when my dad caught me and my siblings a 3DS and got us Rayman 2 on it, and when I tell you, I was rinsing that game out heavy when I was a kid, man. But the same love I had for Rayman 2 just didn't compare at all to how peak Rayman Origins was. When I first played this game alongside my cousins, I kid you not, I probably milked this game out for weeks, man. I'm telling you, this was a generational title.
That game was fun.
The game doesn't necessarily have a cold story. It's a game meant for kids. What'd you expect? But the gameplay in this...
No, that game's for anybody. I don't care.
Game is for all ages, bro. I'm talking about you can be 60 and enjoy it, fam. I swear down. From the power-ups you get along the game, to the speed run you do in the treasure chest levels.
Oh, I hated that one. I hated that one so much.
Chase sequences you would do.
There's like 10 of them.
It was different for its time, man. Not to mention, the fairies were fine as hell in this game.
Yeah.
Rayman Origins was one of the peakest games I got to play as a kid. And it was perfect for the family. You could have up to 4 players so you could share with your siblings and your parents. But let me be honest with you, man, right here. Every time one of my family members tried to jump out with me on any multiplayer game, I was not letting them come onto the game, man. I used to take out the batteries out of the other controllers we had, so if certain people tried to jump out with me, I could convince them that they were playing as the only character on screen when it was really
I never did that.
I was a conniving guy when I was younger. It was crazy, man. But don't look at me crazy because I know some of you might used to be doing that as well, bro. Don't lie. But Rayman Origins is genuinely a classic and was one of the best games I had growing up. And it is 100 times better than Rayman Legends. But don't get it twisted. Rayman Legends is tough as well. The music levels in that game were hitting. But besides that, Rayman Origins clears it, bro. I'm gonna keep 100 with you. Going on to my next childhood games, we gotta speak about some of the best ones that I used to be playing on mobile, bro. I'm talking about games like Subway Surfers, Fruit Ninja, Flappy Bird, Hungry Shock, Angry Birds, and
those are
many
OGs.
more. But specifically, I'm gonna be talking about Temple Run because Temple Run, hands down, is one of the best games to ever exist. I'm telling you. Every day when I finished primary school and I started walking home with my mom, I would just snatch her phone and straight up be banging this game out. Every time we went to a family outing on the way to the function, I'm playing Temple Run. When she used to make munch at home and I couldn't watch TV, I'm playing Temple Run. When she would argue and
Temple Run all the time,
guess what? I was still playing Temple Run. Mobile games were such a big thing I had growing up because they were literally free and most of them were gems, man. A lot of these games were also...
Angry Birds done too much. Angry Birds, if you know about the story about that, because that video came out, man, Angry Birds just plummeted, man.
Alternative to their
console, like 30 games of it.
Like if you couldn't play GTA 5 when you were a kid, you had a Gangster Vegas on mobile. If you couldn't play Call of Duty, you had a Pixel Gun. If you couldn't play the Pixel Gun console, you could just play Spider-Man Unlimited.
Pixel Gun's back on Steam, 3D and Strike. So they have the original and they have the multiplayer.
Mobile games were such an easy
and it's free
and great way to break into gaming. And when I was younger, for a long time, I used to be rinsing these games out often as hell. Sometimes more than the ones I had on console. I keep it a buck with you. Like the chokehold games like Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG, and Pokemon Go had on the world. Some of these titles were doing just as good as console games, which is crazy to even think about. But mobile games were so peak to be a part of growing up. And for those of my people who didn't have a console and started their gaming journeys on phone, I'm gonna give you, man, a round of applause because these games were peak, man. I'm telling you. Nintendo games were also a big part of my life.
Oh, here we go.
On the Wii, I got to be able to
please say it. Please say the game I'm thinking of.
I play a lot of Nintendo games when I was a kid. Games like Wii Sports, Punch Out, Donkey Kong, the Michael Jackson Experience, and Mario Kart. But my favorite out of all of the titles on Wii was Super Smash Bros. Bro. Smash Bros. Is hands down.
I let it slide. Looks like Mario Galaxy. You know, I let it slide because Super Smash was my first T14 game ever.
One of the best franchises to ever exist.
I was like, I don't know about getting this.
To start on the best Smash Bros. Game of all time, Super Smash Flash 2, because that game was golden. You need to tell me you had characters like Mario and Sonic alongside people like Goku and Ichigo.
Goku was in there, yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you. But Smash Bros. Bro was the start.
And that game is still a thing to this day. I think it's a lot updated. Yeah, you can still download that.
To my connection to Smash Bros. Especially with
how great the story
is to this game. Subspace Emissary is a national treasure. It's an unmatched story, bro. It was dedicated.
Why'd they bring that back on the new one?
Play most of the
I would have loved that.
Once. You could scrap bosses like Rayquaza, and it had tough cutscenes between fights. This game was so ahead of its
time. The best crossover in the
Smash should have
series.
replicated a story like this in their future games, but they didn't. The story in World of Light is absolute garbage. All you do is run around collecting spirits and fighting trash-ass NPCs. It was low-key a disappointment. Besides the boss fights, the cutscenes, and some of the spirits, the game was embarrassingly horrible. It wasn't here like Subspace Emissary.
I thought it was okay,
but Ultimate was also still a tough game. They brought everybody in and they even added characters a lot of people wanted to see in Smash Bros. Like Sora, Steve, Joker, and Banjo and Kazooie. But the one thing I hate about the DLC roster was how arse characters like Min Min made it into the roster. How is that even possible, bro? ARMS looks straight up like an arse game. This shit looks tragic, and Min Min was horrible. They definitely just paid Sakurai a bunch of money so they could get into Smash Bros. But justice for my Waluigi fans. I know they were crying when they saw this. He should have been added into Smash instead of Min Min.
Should have been added in there.
Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't understand how this.
No, I got something to say about Super Smash. Why is it that out of every Sonic character, Sonic is the only one still in Smash and they didn't add anybody else? You couldn't add Tails, Knuckles. Hell, you couldn't even add Silver, and Silver's my GOAT. If you don't know, Silver's my favorite Sonic character. It's been only Sonic since day one and he still ain't got no other characters. Hell, he could have added cream and cheese in there and I would have liked that.
Only one Sonic character, but we got useless Echo Fighters nobody plays, and we got 8 Fire Emblem characters.
Too many Fire Emblem.
Some of these might be paying Sakurai must be heavy.
That's like adding 80 Attack on Titan characters. They all do this similar.
Roy and Ike are the only good Fire Emblem characters. Everybody else, trash. Robin, trash. Corrin, trash. Get them out the game, man. What are they still doing here? For real shit, justice to my boy Shadow the Hedgehog. That's the #1 guy I think.
Who did you say was trash?
Everybody else, trash. Robin, trash. Corrin.
Hey, you watch it with Corrin. You watch it. I main Corrin.
Trash. Get them out the game, man. What are they still doing here? For real shit, justice to my boy Shadow the Hedgehog. That's the #1 guy I think should be in Smash Bros. I swear.
Yes.
But Smash Bros was the pioneer of fighting games when I was growing up. To this day, people still compete in Smash tournaments playing games like Melee, which came out in 2001. That shit is almost 24 years old. But that just shows the different level of chokehold Smash Bros has to the community. It brought people together. It was a family game meant for you to play with your brothers and sisters and sometimes your friends. And also so you could rage quit and possibly break your controller. This game was for everyone. Another franchise that was for everyone were Mario games. Aside from the usual mainline titles where it's the normal platformer, you had other Mario games to cater to your other interests. You like golf? We had Mario Golf. You like football? We had Mario Strikers. You like painting? We had Mario Paint. And the list goes on from here.
But the best part.
Mario games is where I was at. And I think Mario gotta be one of the most consistent games of all time.
Galaxy.
I mean, it's the same thing every game. Bowser on his weird shit kidnapping Princess Peach, and you run your ass across at least 2 to 8 walls to go save her just to get a kiss on the cheek. What the hell, man? Did you know I went through to get to you and all you gave me was a kiss on the cheek? Are you crazy? You know how much I sacrificed? But mainline titles were a big part of my life, especially Super Mario Bros. Wii, because that was hands down the best one. Like in this version, you could turn into a penguin. And who doesn't want to turn into a penguin? It's a penguin, man. And there was a helicopter mushroom turning you into a helicopter man. Then you fly in the game, which literally made Yoshi redundant. RIP to Yoshi, bro. I used to be sacrificing this guy every 5 seconds. I loved this game growing up. And ever since that game, I just played a bunch of Mario later on. Like the Mario game I had after that was 3D Land on the 3DS. And my god, was this game absolutely incredible. Everything from the level.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I just recently bought a 3DS off of eBay and it came modded. Where is it at? I can show it real quick. Told you. I got it. This is actually the Japanese version.
To the power-ups, to finessing Bowser at the end.
I just miss having the 3DS. I was like, I'm gonna buy it.
Luigi was straight up class. This game was a 10 out of 10, fam. But most Mario games are really just a hit anyway. And it's just a clear franchise in general. Like, I couldn't tell you a bad Mario game even if I tried. It's crazy, man. But Mario games were great growing up and were a core part of a lot of people's childhood memories. Going on to my next childhood games, we have to talk about anime games because they were fire. Games like Raging Blast, the Storm series, Budokai Tenkaichi, Inokami.
Oh, the Dragon Ball games.
But the best anime game, hands down, are the Xenoverse games, my people. And there's
Xenoverse
one clear
2 is
answer
good.
as to
I
why.
played 1.
You can make your own character. This is everything any anime fan wanted. You mean to tell me I could make my own character, my own Saiyan, and he could go Super Saiyan? What are we talking about here? Just shut up and take my money. This game was so clear.
I made a second character. I have a Majin now.
Because of that, bro, I'm telling you, the Xenoverse games had to be some of the best games to ever exist. Not only because you can make your own character, but just the whole game in itself. You could play throughout the whole Dragon Ball Z story, scrapping people like Frieza, Cell, Buu,
got their own cutscenes too,
Jiren, and
their own storyline.
This game was elite. I couldn't tell you how gassed I was when I got Xenoverse.
Let's not talk about how bad Toad is. Y'all, yeah, she look good.
I started banging out this game differently.
But she do.
I at least maxed out every race in the game once and got all their transformations. Like, if I was to log onto my PlayStation right now, you'd probably see 1,000 hours with me having a whole crazy moveset with Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. I was a banger at this game, man, low key. Everything about the Xenoverse.
They might have Super Saiyan 4 now after Diamond.
Creation, to the story, to the parallel quest, to the teachers and moves. But my god, were there some difficult ass missions in this game. Like the one where you have to fight Cooler and Frieza alongside Namek Saga Goku. And this fight was one of the hardest fights in the game. They used to be jumping and whooping my ass while NPC Goku would just be spamming Kamehameha and running around the place. This guy was useless, man. But the Xenoverse games were hype as hell and were some of the best moments I had in my childhood.
Probably the hardest parallel
to
quest.
Anime games now are shit, man. Storm Connection, garbage. The Bleach game, garbage. The random ass other anime games like Seven Deadly Sins, Fairy Tail, and Black Clover, garbage. And Sparking Zero died so quickly. Everybody was on the hype of that shit when they were out here making Sonic Sway edits on TikTok. But now nobody even plays that game no more. That shit is so ass, bro.
Who was nobody? I still play it. What you talking about?
Bandai Namco just need to hurry up and make Xenoverse free. I'm tired of this, man. Right. Always updating Xenoverse 3, acting like we don't want a Xenoverse free. Hurry up and make the game, man. And now we're gonna talk about the greatest game character of all time. I'm talking about he's a pioneer to what I think is the greatest childhood franchise of all time and still isn't touched to this day by certain other titles. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Sonic the Hedgehog. And I just want to let you man know I am a hardcore Sonic Glazer fan. But what I'm gonna say in this video is just facts. Sonic by far had a point in this time where
Sonic
he was
is always
carrying
like
some of the best games of all time on his back. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sure, being a Sonic fan in the 2010s was a dark time for all of us.
That was Forces. Why do they hate Sonic Forces so much?
Greatest games of all time to come out of it. My first Sonic game was Sonic Generations, and this is what started my addiction to the franchise, bro. Everything from the high-speed gameplay to the cold-ass rival battles to the amazing cutscenes and boss fights. Everything about this game was peak. And after I played this, I went and played every single Sonic game. And truth be told, I don't think 06 was that horrible. Hear me out. Let me explain. I'm
telling you, I don't think it was that bad. I mean, yeah, it looked a little odd, but I feel like it looked so raw that it was its own game. And I was like, I like this. Hell, you can play as Amy, you can play as Knuckles, you can play as Rouge, you can play as dang near everybody. And you can play as Omega.
Let me explain. As a wise man once said, and I quote, if you ignore the bad things, there's only good things. And I can't overlook how horrible and absolutely horrific some of the glitches and gameplay was in Sonic 06. I'm not trying to put that down.
But it made it funny though.
The whole moment where Elise thinks it's okay to start cross-species contact in the game. We should have called RSPCL Sega for that. What the hell was that writing? But some of the
at least you got 3 Super Hedgehogs from that.
Moments in 06 are some of the most hype in this
well,
series.
I can't say that. I don't know.
Like
she might not be over age.
Wait a minute. Shadow's character development, Sonic's quotes and speeches to Elise, the character designs and the cutscenes. These things were definitely where all the budget went and made this game a cinematic masterpiece. Not to mention, Mephiles was that guy.
Yes.
Mephiles is one of the coldest villains in Sonic period. He's still the only one canonically to have murdered Sonic. And Eggman been trying to do that shit for 50 years and my man did it in one day. Eggman, you suck, fam. But let's be honest, the glitches and gameplay in Sonic 06 were absolutely horrific. I don't blame anyone for
that's also the game where Silver first started.
I say this is one of the worst games of all time. All this shit was rushed and barely playable. But if they took their time, took the part with Elise kissing Sonic and fixed up the gameplay, it would have probably been one of the best Sonic games of all time. But Sonic fans as a collective know, Sonic Unleashed is one of the best Sonic games of all time. Everything about this game was amazing, 10 out of 10. The gameplay, the story, the Werehog, Chip,
this dude was super at the beginning and the end of the game.
Everything was amazing about this game. This was a childhood treasure and is definitely up in the top 3 Sonic games of all time, no doubt about it. But
Sonic Adventure 2 got some good music.
Play Sonic Sonic Unleashed when I was a kid. I'm sorry, bro. I missed out on it. However, somebody
I played it on the
to
Wii.
PC, and as soon as I saw that, I banged this game out differently, and I can confidently say I understand it now. This game is amazing. But the couple Sonic games that had me going crazy when I was younger were the Wii games, especially Sonic and the Black Knight. This game was hype. Sega went crazy with this one. Sonic was all
I never got to
this
see
entire game.
like actual
You mean to
gameplay.
tell me you gave this man Excalibur on his hip? How did Sega manage to make this guy cooler than he already was, bro? This game was the pinnacle of peak I had growing
Look
up.
at them with the
gameplay,
aura.
the story, the animated cutscenes, the 1v1s you would do against Shadow, Knuckles, and Blaze, the final boss fight against Melina, and you go into a Super
Excalibur
Nightfall. And this shit was crazy. Oh my days, I actually love this game, bro. Shit was amazing. The Sonic Riders games had me gassed as well. They gave this game an animated cutscene looking like a whole anime, and the games were fire. And the Babylon Rogues went crazy. Jet the Hawk is one of the best Sonic rivals ever, bro. I was really into a lot of Sonic growing up, from playing the Flash games to being there for the whole creepypasta phase, to watching Sonic Paradox and fan films like The Wrath of Nazo.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started on The Wrath of Nazo. This was so goated. I was watching this on Newgrounds before it got to YouTube. Before YouTube, I was on Newgrounds. That's how good all the stuff was. I ain't gonna lie, sometimes Newgrounds have some crazy shit. But other than that, I'm like, yo, I was on Newgrounds before YouTube, and I watched this before it hit YouTube. This is still good to this day.
Chakra X Elite Ball Knowledge, if you've seen that. But Sonic was a huge part of my childhood. I mean, I would try to never miss an episode of Sonic X, and just stories, to the characters, to the music, the transformations, and the boss fights. It was just too clear. And I can sit here and tell you, man, about every peak Sonic game I've ever played and how they're all amazing. But I'll leave that for another time. Maybe dedicate a video to it if you might enjoy this one enough. But in short, Sonic is the greatest character ever. Sonic for Prime Minister,
like
Sonic for King of England, Sonic for President of the world.
Okay,
we
too
all
far,
love
buddy.
Sonic, fam. But these were some of the craziest childhood games I had growing up. If you man got any different ones or any I haven't mentioned that you had going mad as a kid for, let me see them in the comments below. And my people, thank you. Thank you for 10,000 of you. A couple of months.
But I still love the games nonetheless. Like, I'll never not be a Nintendo fan or a Sega fan or whatever you want to call it. I just love it, man. I really, really do. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And again, tell me what your favorite game is in the comments, because I'm really curious. Like I didn't really get into Kingdom Hearts until later on. Kingdom Hearts, Sonic Adventure 2, and Persona, even Bayonetta. Yo, they got some similar genre of music, but it's so beautiful. Keep it chill. I love y'all. And until next time, peace out.